Kesubos Daf discusses a number of scenarios in which a woman has to swear in order to collect her ksuba. There are the 5 which we saw in the Mishnah. The Gemara has already worked through 2 of them. The Gemara is going to continue working through and discussing the halachos of situations in which she has to swear. So the Gemara is in the middle of discussing where there's a eid echad, there's a single witness that says she already collected her ksuba. She denies it and says she never did. The halacha is she has to swear. So says the Gemara that shur is only a shur d'Rabbanan. It can't be a shur d'Oraisa because you don't swear on a ksuba d'Oraisa. You can never have a shur d'Oraisa on a ksuba because ksuba money is a shibud karkais, and there's no shur d'Oraisa on something that has a lien on real estate. So Gemara says that Rav Papa says there is a solution for the husband to make her have to swear a shur d'Oraisa. We're talking about a case obviously where the husband's right. He knows that she already collected the money, but there was only one witness there, and now he wants to make her swear. He's hoping that if it'll be a shur d'Oraisa, she won't be willing to do it. Shur d'Oraisa is much harder to do than a shur d'Rabbanan. She has to use a Shem Hashem, and she has to hold a sefer Torah in her hands. The problem is that he can't be mechayev a shur d'Oraisa on a ksuba. So Rav Papa says there's a way to make her chayev a ksuba to make her chayev a shur d'Oraisa on this money, and that is that he'll pay her a ksuba again, and this time he'll bring another witness, another single witness, to watch the payment of the second ksuba. Now he already paid the ksuba now for sure. He's going to bring the first witness that says he paid the ksuba, the one that saw the first payment, the second witness that saw the second payment. He'll bring them to court as 2 witnesses who vadai saw that he paid a ksuba at least one time. He'll say that money was for the ksuba, and then the original money that he says he paid her and she denies, and one witness says he saw, he'll say that was a loan, and he'll turn it into a loan because he already paid her ksuba. Now once it's a loan, it's no longer a ksuba. There is no shibud karkais, and he could make her swear based on the eid echad. So the Gemara immediately interrupts us. The Gemara says that doesn't make any sense because there's only one witness on each of the payments. What's going to end up happening is that he's going to have a single witness on both of them. He's going to lose both cases. She'll swear d'Rabbanan on both cases, and he's going to lose them both. So the Gemara says, no, what really has to do is he has to do the second payment with 2 witnesses, and that way he can say that this is the payment for the ksuba, establish this is the payment for the ksuba. The first payment which he says he made, and there's one witness that says he made, is going to be on a loan. He'll turn that into a loan, and then he can make her swear shur d'Oraisa on that money. So the Gemara asks that she could still denied, and she could say, I had 2 ksubas. He wrote 2 stars ksuba for me. You saw, 2 witnesses saw the payment of 1, but there was a different star ksuba, and that star ksuba I deny that I ever received. And he has 1 witness who says she paid it. She'll say that was something else. Therefore, the Gemara says he has to actually inform the 2 witnesses that he's bringing and say, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to do another payment for there was only 1 ksuba, and I'm telling you that this is the same ksuba that was before, that I have 1 aid that she paid, and I'm going to do another payment in order to turn the previous ksuba into a loan. He has to make it clear so that she can't claim that there was 2 separate ksubas happening, and the first aid was talking about something else. He's going to bring that aid, he's going to say this was the same ksuba, and they're testifying in the first place that this is a second payment for the same ksuba, and then there can be no claim that it was another ksuba. All right, now the Gemara goes on, and the Gemara discusses the next thing, where we're going to speak about where Yisomim want to collect. You have people who inherited a chov, and they want to collect. So we have a Mishnah that says they can only collect if they swear that they haven't been paid yet. Someone says, why should that be? If the father was alive, the original lender can collect without swearing. You don't have to swear that you weren't paid yet. You have a shtar. You're holding a document that says you lent money to somebody. That's a valid proof that he borrowed and that he never paid back, and I don't have to swear. So why should those who inherited have to swear? It doesn't make any sense. We're more going to defend the inheritors than we're going to defend the father themselves. So the Gemara answers, we're talking about where they're trying to collect not from the person that the loan was made to, not from the borrower, but from the descendants of the borrower, the inheritors of the borrower. The inheritors of the borrower don't know that the father paid or didn't pay. All they have is this claim. There's somebody comes with a document that says your father owed us money. Therefore, the halacha is that if you want to collect from inheritors of the borrower, you have to swear, and that's true even for the inheritors of the lender. They also have to make the same shvua. Now, the Gemara wants to know, what are we talking about? What's the case here? What is the claim that the inheritors of the borrower made that they say they heard from the father? He said, I never borrowed, or he said, I borrowed, but I paid back. So the Gemara is going to say this halacha that they can collect, that the inheritors of the lender can collect by swearing, is only true in one of those 2 cases, and the Gemara is going to have 2 versions of Rav Zrika and the name of Rav Yehuda and switch which one it is. According to the first version, he said that they can only swear and collect if he admits that the loan was made, that he borrowed the money, that he had told his kids before he died that the loan was made, and he borrowed the money, but he says he paid it back, and therefore that's not so believable. He's admitting that the loan was there, so there's a certain amount of disbelief there. However, if he says, I never paid at all, so we have no reason to doubt that. We assume he didn't lie at the time that he died, and therefore the inheritors of the lender cannot just swear and collect. Even if they swear, we won't believe them. We assume that the loan was never made at all. Now, the Gemara asks that this doesn't make any sense. It should be the other way. And the Gemara actually switches. And the reason that it makes more sense the other way is because when he admits that the loan was made, but he says he paid back, so the fact that the inheritors have a shtar, the fact that they have the document is not such a strong proof. They have a document, they found a paper in their father's belongings that says that he lent money to somebody. Okay, so maybe there was also a receipt somewhere and they just don't know where the receipt is. So maybe if the father would be alive, he would say, yeah, I got the money back. All they have is a document. So in a case like that, if he says, yeah, the document is true, but I paid it, that's a much stronger argument, and therefore even if they swear, maybe we're not going to believe them. However, if the borrower told his kids before he died, and he says, I never borrowed it, so we know that's not true. We know it's not true that he never borrowed anything, because we have a document that clearly says he did, and we rely on the document. The only claim he could possibly make is that the document's true, but I paid it, but he's not saying that, and he's definitely not saying he paid it. He can't say that he paid it because he said I never borrowed it. Therefore, in that case, there he's not so believable, and they can collect by swearing. And Gemara says actually they don't even have to swear in that case, because since it's so not believable, he's pretty much admitting that he never paid, and we know because of the document that he did borrow, so he doesn't even have to. The inheritors of the lender don't even have to swear; they could collect without swearing. Okay, next thing we saw in the Mishnah was that if the husband is not here, then we make the wife swear. We are not, if he left, he went to Medina Siyam, he traveled overseas, and we want to pay the ksuba. Let's say he sent a divorce from where he is, and so the ex-wife wants to collect the ksuba, but he's not here, so we don't know what he would say. Maybe he would say he paid it already, maybe he wouldn't. So what do you do here? So we had said that the halacha is that the wife has to swear and then she can collect. So it says, the Gemara quotes a machlokes where the same thing is true for a borrower. If somebody lent money, if somebody borrowed money and then he left, he went overseas, do we say that he can collect it by swearing? So the Gemara quotes this machlokes. The first machlokes is from Rabbi Yitzchak, possibly Rabbi Yitzchak Nafka, according to the Bach, with an incident that happened in Antochia, and he said that this halacha is only true by iksuba, because we want a woman to be able to get married. We want her to rely on the fact that she's going to get paid, and therefore we allow her to collect by swearing even if the husband's not here. However, if it's just a balchov, okay, so we're not so worried about it, and therefore we won't let him collect unless the borrower is here himself. Says the Gemara that Rava and Nachman disagrees, and he says, no, we also want people to be able to lend money. And people aren't going to lend money if they're afraid that the borrower is going to run away and then he won't be able to collect something from his estate. And therefore, even in a case where somebody just borrowed money and the borrower left, we can collect from his estate, even if he's not here, by swearing. Gemara now wants to understand the last line of the Mishnah, which is the opinion of Reb Shimon. The Gemara is confused as to what Reb Shimon is commenting on, what is he referring to, and the Gemara is going to give 3 explanations and reject them in order to figure out what Reb Shimon is referring to. So, first of all, what does Reb Shimon say? He says, we have a list of 5 examples where a lady has to swear. Reb Shimon says she only has to swear if she's claiming the ksuba, and the Arshin say then she has to swear. But if she doesn't claim the ksuba, she doesn't have to swear. So the Gemara wants to know, what's he talking about? What is he referring to exactly? What is this all about? So the Gemara's first attempt is to say that we're talking about this case where the husband went away. He's overseas, and she wants to claim the ksuba. She also wants to claim mizonos, that is, she wants to claim food. She wants to get fed by the husband's estate, and that's while she's married. And then later, after she receives the get, she's going to get her ksuba. So there is a machlokes which we've seen in a different masechta between Rabbi Chanan and the Bnei HaKahanim Gedolim. Machlokes is, do we make her swear that she doesn't have any money set aside from the husband for her mizonos, or do we say it doesn't make a difference whether she has or not? In the end, when she gets divorced, she's going to have to swear to collect the ksuba anyway, that she doesn't have any money left over from anywhere. So even if she has money hidden away that she could have used for mizonos, and she's ripping them off by taking more money for mizonos, it's going to be covered by that which she has to swear in the end anyway. So therefore, Hanan says she doesn't have to swear until she's ready to collect the ksuba, that's going to cover everything. On that, Rav Shimon is saying that any time that she is collecting her ksuba, she has to swear. If she's not demanding ksuba, she doesn't have to swear. It's passing like Rav Chanan. Bnei Kanim Gedolim are going like the Chachamim, and they're saying no, she doesn't have to. She has to swear even on the mazonos when she's getting it, because she may have put money away somewhere. Now the Gemara says that's a very nice prat. The problem is that the term that's used here in the Mishnah is Yorshim. That is, the inheritors are making her swear. If we're talking about a case where the husband's alive but he's overseas, and that's the only way that this case makes any sense, because we're saying that he's alive and that's why there's mazonos. If he died, there's no mazonos. You can't use the word inheritors. You have to talk about the Beis Din who are making her swear because she wants to collect. It can't be inheritors because there's no inheritors for somebody who's alive. Gemara now gives its second explanation, which is Rav Sheshes, and he says, referring to the previous Mishnah, in the previous Mishnah we saw the halacha that if the wife became an apotropos on the property of the children, then they can make her swear, even in a situation where she's not going to swear on anything that happened before the death of her husband, because he promised her, no one's going to make you swear, not me, not my kids, so she can't be made to swear on anything in the past, but the Mishnah there said she can be made to swear on any future dealings on the property of the inheritors. So the Gemara says that is the topic of a machlokes between Abba Shal and the Chachamim, whether you can make someone swear if she is appointed to be an apotropos by the father on the property of his descendants after he dies. We see in different Masechta there's a machlokes. What happens if a person becomes an apotropos and he or she is appointed either by the father or by the Beis Din? So according to one opinion, you can only make him swear if he's appointed by the father and not by the Beis Din. According to the other one, you can only make him swear if he's appointed by the Beis Din and not by the father. And the machlokes is which one is harder to find. Whichever one is harder to find, an apotropos appointed by the father is harder to find, because when the Beis Din appoints it, when it's a chashivas, the people want to do it, and therefore only when it's appointed by the Beis Din are we willing to make him swear. We're not worried about losing an apotropos. Or is it the other way around? No one wants to be an apotropos because of the Beis Din, because there's no reason for them to agree. Only if they're appointed by the father, it must be that the father, they owe the father some favor. So therefore they have something invested in it, and therefore we're willing to make them swear in that case. Either way, we have this machlokes. Here we have a case where you have an apotropos that's appointed by the father. So the Tanakama in the Mishnah had said that you can make her swear. This has to be appointed by the father, not by the Beis Din, because the Beis Din will never appoint a woman as an apotropos. So the Tanakama said you can make her swear, and he's like the opinion that holds that you can make an apotropos appointed by the father swear, but the opinion of Reb Shimon is you can't make them swear, and therefore Reb Shimon says you can only swear to collect the ksuba. You can't swear on the rest of the property, and that's what Reb Shimon means when he says you can only swear on the ksuba, not on anything else. So Gemara says the problem is that Reb Shimon therefore is being lenient, and he's limiting when she could swear. If that's the case, then Reb Shimon's language should be you only going to swear in this limited case where there's a ksuba, but that's not what Reb Shimon says. Reb Shimon says any time there's a ksuba you swear. That type of language implies that he's being more expansive than the Tanakama, and he's saying that you're going to swear in more cases. So therefore that can't be the pshat. That's not what he's referring to, and we're still looking for what he's referring to. The Gemara therefore is going to try its third approach. The Gemara therefore brings its third explanation, which is Abaye. Abaye says is referring to the Mishnah we'd seen earlier, where the man promises his wife that she's not going to have to swear, not to him, not to his inheritors, not her inheritors. Any of these things is not going to be any shvua. And over there we had seen the halacha that there was a number of opinions when she has to swear and when she doesn't. At the end we saw Abba Shaul ben Miriam said that she always has to swear. He can't promise her not to swear on a ksuba, because if she wants to collect from the Yisomim, the halacha is Chazal said you always have to swear to collect anything from Yisomim, and therefore it doesn't matter what he says. If she's collecting from his children after he dies, she's always going to have to swear. Al pi din, that's going to be the halacha. So on that, Rabbi Shimon is saying that halacha. He's saying any time that she's toivas ksuba from the Arshin, she's going to have to swear no matter what he promised her. So Gemara rejects this also, at least partially, because the Gemara says that explains what Rav Shimon meant in the first half of his statement, where he said any time she asks for her ksuba, she has to swear to the Yarshin. But what about the second half of the statement, where he said, and any time she does not ask for the ksuba, she does not have to swear? What's that referring to? That's the same as what everybody else said. That's not adding anything. So Abaye therefore says that really Rav Shimon here is coming to argue on the entire Mishnah. And that last line is referring to where the Mishnah said that if she's appointed to be the guardian the manager of all his assets, he can make her swear at any time that she's handling it correctly, and he's arguing on that. And he's saying, no, there is no such shvua on random things that she's taking responsibility for. There's only a shvua on the ksuba, and there's always a shvua on the ksuba from the Yarshim. And those are the two things he said. That which he said that he can pater her from the shvua on the ksuba, even from the Yarshim, is not true. If she's being to the last ksuba, she has to swear, no matter what he said. And in that which the Mishnah said that he can make her swear on anything to do with management that he asked her to do, that she does not have to swear. She only has to swear on the ksuba.